In 1 minute.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with the game itself. The game is Adventures of R.Y.B, and our team was called.
Okay.
Our team was called R.G.B team, and R.Y.B was actually for red, yellow, and blue. Our main character was supposed to be red, green, and blue, but our artist made some changes, and yeah, so Adventures of R.Y.B. Actually, I'm going to only talk about the way the design of our game went as time went through. I'm not going to talk about the game itself too much. The theme was very difficult when we started making the game. Surprisingly so. You know, when you hear about the theme, and in the first several minutes you start thinking about all those grand, amazing ideas, but I've worked on a previous game jam, and one thing I realized was compromise. You always have to think simple, make simple things, try to compromise as much as you can, and not just compromise your ideas, but you have to compromise your role in the team. So our team was Nicola. He was artist. He was primarily responsible for making the main character. Milos was our programmer, and the second programmer was Philip, and me, I was something like a game designer and supplier of sounds and music. Yeah, so we actually hit a crunch, a big one, not at the end, but when we started making the game. It was a few hours in on Friday when we started to talk about all the ideas. We used up, I mean, maybe 20 or so pages, big pages of papers, writing all the ideas, writing sketches about them. So all the ideas from everyone had, we put them on the paper, and then we started analyzing them. First, we started analyzing them, which one was the most playable, which one was the most interesting, and also fairly easy to do in such a short time. And of course, there were problems, big problems. Everyone wanted to have their idea entering into the final process of making the game. And there was also a big problem of, among all those ideas that we presented, we started realizing only a few of them had some contact with the theme that was given. So yeah, we hit a big snag there. Actually, we had no big problem when we discussed what was the best idea to create the game, and when we started making the game, there was no really major problems, except the very end. I'll talk about it also. There was some. We had big arguments about, yeah, maybe we should do this, no, do this. It was all very constructive. And suddenly, when we just stopped thinking about ideas, when we all were kind of, I don't know, we just hit a snag. Ranko from the team, design team of Game Jam. Yes. He came to us and he listened through all our ideas, and he gave a few very useful pointers. And then I remember, of course, I'm going to talk, my team is not here, so I'm going to talk about things I have seen from my viewpoint. And I remember he talked about, to me only, as a game designer, he said, quote, you have to put ego. When you're a game designer, you have to put ego on a second place. If you have a great idea, great. If you can push that idea into the game, that's even greater. But you must not never allow the ideas of your team to go unnoticed. Actually, you should take their ideas and shape them so they can be playable and be in the game. So that was the thing that really helped me. There was an idea actually from Milos, one of our programmers. He thought about making a game where our character could change colors and thus changing the view of the world around him. So after that, we all started making input on that idea. Everyone had something to add, and we all talked about it. We all made a big list of things, mechanical and ideological only. After that, we actually finished on the first day with making a playthrough on a paper of the entire game. We had planned the entire mechanical process of the game. We had a few levels, I mean 1 or 2 levels ready, maybe 1 level ready, and we called it quits after that, because what the other said, it's not very useful to work if you are tired. It's better to go home and sleep, and tomorrow come back and work harder if you have to. Because there's not much an effect if you're pushing yourself too much with no sleeping, and you just can't think and work. Give 100% of yourself on the game jam. So actually, we had a really good communication amongst us. I can't tell you who the leader was, but we all had strict roles, and we all had a great communication on us. Every time someone would make, he would say, "Hey, look at this, what do you think about this, what do you think about that?" Our programmers would always say, "I just implemented this, what do you think about it?" Or for example, our artist, every time when he would like to introduce some new idea, some new element to the game, or change the already existing one, he would always input us, always talk about us. So there was always a lot of exchanging of ideas. Simply, we didn't have much of problem of wanting to create a problem of creating what we all wanted. Mm-hmm. And also, it helped a lot that our 2 programmers were very good at what they do. Of course, I don't know about programming much, and every time I would look what they do, it looked like a song. Mm-hmm. So simple. You know, I had an idea about this or that. Yeah, no problem. So just like that. So that was amazing. Also, our artists also had really great ideas. For example, we were especially incentivized to finish the game when he introduced the first sketches of the main character. The main character, I'm not really sure, but I believe he had between 15 and 20 frames totally. For example, there were about 5 or 6 frames for walking, and there were about 6 other frames for jumping and switching sides. And there was a lot of effort put into that, a lot of small details that made the main character really sympathetic and likable, and we simply knew we had to give our best to make the game as much as the rest of the game as much as likable as the main character. So as I said, there were no problems afterwards, except at the very end with the polishing of the game. We actually didn't thought about it too much. We were always thinking, there is enough time, you can do it. Don't fuss about it. And yeah, well, when Damir started making rounds saying, finish it, finish. I mean, would you please can be so kind, finish it as soon as you can? We were saying, sure, no problem. And we were in such a snag with time because we were implementing still so many stuff in the game. We forget to analyze them, to test if the game works, to test if the levels work properly. And also there was a problem I've noticed when two programmers work. For example, one programmer was working on one specific thing on the game, and when he puts it on a USB and gives it to the other programmer, there was always some kind of code breakdown. So there was a lot of polishing actually around that. Every time when one programmer would give his idea literally on a USB or a piece of code to the other, it wouldn't work completely. There was always something creeping out, messing our plan to finish the game in time. So that was the second snag, not such a big problem, but snag nevertheless, with synchronizing codes, so to speak. But we actually managed to finish the game in time. We also managed to do as much as we could because besides talking always among the team, there was so many stuff on paper and so many stuff on our computers that we had from assets to the ideas that we could choose from easily and make a game in such a short time. So in the end, of course, 80% of all the assets and all the ideas just they were not in the game. But that was okay. So as I said, it's all about compromising. It's all about understanding not what you want, and it's great that you are here to make something amazing. But you also have to keep in mind there are other people with you. That you have to understand their wishes and to respect their ideas, their input into the game. And yeah, that's something I would like to... That's actually what I wanted to talk about making our game.
Making your game, sorry?
Making our game.
I'm making it in general.
Period.
Do you plan to finish the game? Do you plan to add more levels?
Well, I hope so, but I can't give you anything tangible yet. I mean, no tangible information. I haven't heard from them yet, but I hope so. It would be great if we finish it.
It would really be great, yeah. The game looks and feels great, really.
One more question. Would you work with the same team again on the game jam?
Actually, considering my previous experiences, I would like to work always with another team. It doesn't mean I would like to stick with a team that's very productive and filled with ideas, but I found out working with, I found out it was a great challenge to work every time with new people. You could learn a lot about people when you're stuck in the same room for 48 hours.
Yeah, definitely.
And that was also kind of a great thing, a challenge, I said. So yeah, I would definitely like to work with, as much as you can, with different people.
Hopefully there'll be some chance.
Yeah.
In the next jams.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? Anybody? Okay, we'll ask him while eating. Thanks, Damir.